he's going to take a very, very, very comfortable win. Even despite 2 stopping, he is still 33 seconds ahead of the field.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Rwagnation League Grand Prix here in Azerbaijan. It's the Baku City Circuit, round 8 of the Season 5. Oh, I'm so excited for this race. I really can't wait. It's Ben Raggy McConnell, and joining me, as always, is Mark Horn Badger Meiklejohn. How you doing?
I'm doing really well, you know. It's an exciting track to come racing.
It's a beautiful track. I mean, this is a very... I mean, you just saw the F2 races. You were part of them. You know exactly how difficult it is to stay in the DRS train of somebody ahead of you, but also to then use that to its fullest. These guys have got ERS to their advantage. They've got the tow, they've got the DRS. Everything is so much more when it comes to the F1 cars, and I really can't wait. But this is the circuit they're going to be attacking us. It's 3.7 miles long with 20 turns in total and 2 DRS zones. Only one of them is really going to be used for the overtake, because overtaking into turn 3 is pretty damn difficult. Castle is going to be the area to watch out for, because plenty of people will have issues there. As you can see, this is the championship standings. Getzone is currently leading it with 124. Then Zones, Brownie, and Some Idiot copy. Hugo's Huni, Danico, Rainbow, and Vexy are currently holding out that top 10. Remember, the top 10 will get an invite into next season straight away, but we've got plenty of races to go before we get to the end of that. Yolta is currently sitting in best of the rest with 17 points, and Safso, who scored his first ever points in the RNL last week out in Monaco. And I may just say, it might have something to do with the fact that he had a pretty damn good race engineer. Not sure who that could be, but let me tell you, it was me. McLaren are currently topping the constructor standings. We'll get a better look at the standings in just a short while, but this is a hot lap of this circuit. As you can see, Yonte on the home straight, break about the 125 board, get yourself right down the gears through turn 1 and get a clean exit in towards turn 2. Again, you want to brake just before you see the waiting sign on the right side, and then down in towards turn 2. And now another DRS run, charging hard up towards turn 3. This is really a closure. You can go for a move here, but you don't really want to. You brake just before the 100 meter board, get yourself right down the gears to about gear 3. If you need gear 2 to help you rotate, then do it. Then coming in towards turn 4, brake just before the 50 board. Watch out for the curbs, they will rotate you. Don't hit the wall either. The whole track has a very narrow area when it comes to the turnings as you come into the left and right. This one's pretty awkward. Don't lose the rear. It's too easy to do on this circuit as you come into a very awkward corner, because you actually want to cut this curve here on the right hand side just a little bit. Don't do it too much. You will invalidate or get penalties in the race. And then the famous castle section where we saw Charles Leclerc have a big smash there just last year. Coming through then into mini ping pong, as you can easily find yourself pinging off of one wall and straight into another. And trust me, you definitely don't want that, because any wing damage on this circuit will cause you to be very slow and very vulnerable. Into esports corner, you can actually find yourself yeeting over those curves on the left-hand side if you try it. Break about the 75-meter board here, maybe a bit earlier than that, and then get yourself onto, realistically, the most important corner on the circuit. The exit has to be clean as you come through ping and pong and get ready for the DRS, because just a little bit further ahead activates just now. There it is now. And towing all the way down the home straight to realistically do it all over again once more, because this is going to be a very explosive Grand Prix, let me tell you. We are going to have a slight delay with the lobby start. We just got somebody struggling to get into the sesh, but they are now here, so we should be okay. We'll be able to get the race underway in just a uno momento. But Badger, I want to know, who are you excited for in this Grand Prix?
Oh, to be honest, I think we've got the usual guys in terms of Brownie. He'll probably be up there, thereabouts. He can make quite a good lap. But Zones from last week, what an absolute incredible showing from him in Monaco. So obviously this is technically another street circuit, though it's rather different. But I'm quite interested to see what he can do. Last week he was so dominant. I think he finished with like 35 seconds in front of the rest of the field. So if he can do that again, or even show us just partial that pace, but right now he's got the DRS zones to compete with, because the train here is just so powerful. So we'll see if he's able to do anything about that. But if he can break out of that DRS zone and out of the slip zone, can he disappear into the distance?
Well, we'll have to wait and see. I've been told you're a little bit quiet, so I've just turned you up slightly. I don't know if there's anything you could do your end, but
I saw the message and I've turned everything up to max that I can.
okay, maybe I need to turn Discord up. Give me a second. We are loading into the lobby now anyway, so this is perfect timing to get you up and fired. How are we talking? Give me some volume.
Hello, hello, hello. This is me.
This is you. It's true.
How's that, JC?
I can always adjust if we need to in just a short while. But as you heard the beeps, we are into the Baku Grand Prix. Now, if you can see the skies, which you'll see in just a second, there it is.
Ooh,
it is going to be looking a little bit overcast.
Very interesting, yes.
Right, apparently it's not quite fixed in terms of your volume, so I'm just going to do some more. Talk to me.
So I'm looking right now through the field there, and yeah, I think probably if we look at Brownie, Vexit, and Zones, I'm quite interested to see what those three guys can do.
You're very loud for me, so I'm hoping you're very loud for them. But yeah, I mean, people are starting to make their way out of the pits. We've got Williams on the way out here, actually looking towards Hugo's. He's very good here. In general, sorry, I mean racing. He's a very fast F1 driver. I've not seen him race here. In fact, the RNL is the first time I've seen Hugo's actually do any racing of any kind. It's Samidi who's the first one out on the circuit. I actually believe we're going to be seeing a lot of tow from fair few of these drivers.
Yeah, I mean, it is so powerful. The DRS and the slipstream is just overwhelmingly good here. We're going to see a lot of moves into turn one just because it's literally the natural point for everyone to catch up with each other.
Now we're going to put the standings up on the screen for you here. As you can see, the constructors are pretty well dominated by McLaren due to the start of the season. It's been a little bit more of a slower run further on after Zandvoort. Geton is still the championship leader though with 124 points. It's Zones there in P2. That's unsurprising, especially after, like we said, last week he's had a really dominant performance, a full 26 points being awarded to him, which was incredible to see. Brownie is somebody who has definitely got potential. Definitely in with a chance of getting up there. He's going to need some really good runs from here on out because that gap is still quite substantial between him and Geton. Somebody there in P4, again, another driver who can be fast, can be competitive at the front of the grid. He just needs that opportunity, needs that extra bit of oomph to get himself further up. I think Hugo's is somebody who will help bring Williams forward. And I think when it comes to the constructors, Williams will close that gap very quickly. We have to watch out for that. That is going to be Geton starting to sweat. Obviously, Florian is here today, and I'm told we need the full confirmation, but I'm believing that Florian is going to be joining as a full-time driver. So this should be really good going forwards. So constructors still to play for, drivers definitely still to play for. And I think we are going to be seeing some very quick lap times indeed. Now, I'm going to chuck you under. I have to. I want to hear you 1, 2, 3. Give me it.
Okay, I think probably we're going to see Zones of P1, Vexit in P2, and let's say Brownie P3.
Okay. I think Zones P1. I think Hugo's P2. And I actually think Florian P3. Because Florian is a very quick driver. There's no doubt about that at all. I think he just needs a bit more practice necessarily. And then he should be very, very, very quick. I mean, I've seen him race in many leagues in the past. He went under a different name back then. But he seems to be going much harder this year than last to try and be at the front of the whole esports community. I'd like to see him do that.
Yeah, well, we might indeed see him do that, but right now, we've seen him race, as you're saying, before, but it's been a while, so I don't know if he's been racing in the interim. So I will hold judgment until he shows us something that we know that he is definitely capable of.
Well, somebody is first to the line, and he chucks in. It's gonna be a 38. 38.2, there it is. A nice low 38.2. I do suspect that the pole times are probably going to be like a mid 37s, maybe a low 37s. We shall see in a short while, but we have more people coming to line. Next up is Vexit. He's going to be chucking in the second. In fact, that's not him. It's Rainbow, sorry, who's actually ahead of him. He's going into the pits though, so maybe they gave the tow at some point. We'll see as they come to it. Here he is. P2, 138. He wishes it 132. 257.
Yeah, 132. That would be him going for his ice cream. It would be job done.
I'd love an ice cream right
Dennis,
now.
though, looks like he's... you're welcome. Dennis had a little bit of a tap of the wall, lost an end plate, but it looks like he's decided to stay out anyway and still try and set in a lap time. So rather than change his wing, he's just wanting to see a little banker lap, even with damage. So plenty of time for him to do that, but this is not going to be particularly competitive, you would think.
Indeed. Now, I've seen a Williams of Hugo's and a McLaren, I believe that is of Get Earned. No, that was Florian. Both go out for an outlap and then bring themselves back into the pits immediately. A fair few people have actually done that, so clearly they're not feeling as though they have what is needed in order to get themselves right up at the front, or at least on that lap. Still plenty of time to go, 12.5 minutes in fact, so we can see the track evolve. My only concern is those clouds do look pretty concerning. There may be some raindrops falling later, so you need to just get a banker lap in just to secure yourself.
So the weather forecast that I have means that it should stay pretty consistent throughout, but look at that time from zones, straight out the bat, 7/10 quicker than some idiot. He done this last week as well, where he just went so far in front for his very first lap. Everyone else seems to kind of set in some, a little bit cautious banker laps, but Zone seems to absolutely nail it on his first time out of the pits.
Yeah, I mean, fair play to him. It's a beautiful lap. A 137.5 is only something I could dream of, and these guys are bringing it home like it's nothing, especially Zern. So there are still plenty of other people left to get times in. As you can see, only 5 of the drivers have actually got a time on the board, and I think a lot of the time being gained by these drivers has to be through that castle section. It's basically, how big are your cojones? Can you carry them through there? Waddling if you have to, but you need to get through as quick as you possibly can. Danico is coming back into the pits. It looks like Copy is on a hot lap right now, further out around the circuit. We have an Alfa Romeo going very slowly. He's obviously run out of fuel, it looks like. And we have a Mercedes behind him.
Do you want to know how big Zone's cojones are?
Go on then.
Out of everyone who has set a time through Sector 2, which is where the castle section is, he is half a second faster than the next person.
That's literally the main difference, isn't it? Because there's only 2/10 after that between him and some idiot. So, yeah, that is a sign. Zuns has the biggest cojones. And we are seeing more times getting onto the board. Copy's put himself up in a P5. There's a 38.422. We have a McLaren coming as well, which I think is, is Get Earned. He's actually starting his hot lap.
Yep, so I'm just having a look through the rest of the field as well, and Rainbow and Get Owned are on their laps along with Higgsy, but so far nothing kind of lighting up. Rainbow's just about to come into the castle section, so I'm going to stay on board with him and see just how big his cojones are.
Okay. I've just had to quickly send a very fast invite to Zones to get him back in again. But yeah, Rainbow...
I didn't even realise he disconnected.
Yep. Beady eyes. Very, very beady eyes. How did Rainbow go through the castle?
He has medium-sized cojones.
Could you couple them in one hand, or do you need a second?
I have really big hands, so I think yes. I think I probably could cup them in one hand.
Okay. Well, at least now we know. That's good news. We have a Red Bull, AlphaTauri coming through. That is Higgsy. He's invalidated his lap, so he's probably going to be coming back into the pits. 9.5 minutes remaining of the session. Still a lot of track evolution. Again, I am concerned. I know you said it's going to be consistent, but I'm just concerned. It only takes a couple of raindrops to fall to really ruin a lap time from anybody. As Rainbow gets himself up in a P2, that's a 38.162, and Vexit is in tow. He's on an outlap right now. I'm actually surprised that they've not been giving each other the tow all the way down the back straight.
Yeah, it's you would imagine that should be the plan. I imagine that we're going to see the McLaren boys do it, but Ghetto and Judd managed to just get a great tow off of Copy there. Copy gave him a tow all the way back down, probably unintentionally, but that allowed Ghetto to just set an absolutely stellar lap time.
I mean, it's only marginally faster than Zones by literally 0.06 of a second, but still, Zones looks untouchable in Monaco. Today, initially, we were thinking the exact same thing, but right now, he's just blown out of the water.
I will throw a caveat, and I think Zone set his time without any slipstream.
Yeah, that could be the difference maker, and it might still be the same boat as before, where he just runs away with it later on. But we shall see. Dennis and Danico, they've just gone on to start their hot laps. We have Florian, who's back into the pits.
Interesting. Now, actually, a little bit of side information. I do believe that Tomic is actually race engineer tonight for Get Owned and Florian. So, you know, he's definitely a very talented young individual. So he will most likely be telling Florian to do this. There'll be mind games. There'll be tyre strategies at play. This will probably be Tomic's doing.
We've just seen the Red Bull boys try to give each other the tow, and that backfired tremendously. Vexit was almost held up there by Rainbow. He had to dodge him going through Castle. He didn't want to lift at all. That's why he still improves by a margin and a half, up to 37.431. That is a beautiful lap time. Now, Rainbow is going to need to try and top that. I actually suspect majority of those who haven't yet gone and put a time on, I mean, I'm looking at Dennis and Southside will probably still try and commit on the soft tyres. But I think medium compound tyres are going to be the main call for the normal top guys. Florian, almost guaranteed to be using mediums.
Yeah, I mean, from what he's doing, you would imagine that's the strategy. What I would say as well, though, is Zones is in the danger area of not having a teammate. You know, this is certainly a track where it's useful to have, as I say, for the slipstream for the qualifying, but also having yourself a rear gunner, you know, holding up the people behind you so you can get out of the DRS zone. And this is where Red Bull and McLaren could really take the fight to Zones today, because they're obviously both aiming to get right up there with both teammates. And right now it's looking, at least for Red Bull, that yeah, they're kind of in that zone. Rainbow needs to gain a few extra tenths and stuff, but with a slipstream it could easily do that. And Florian, we imagine, will be going for the medium tyre and doing the all-under strategy, so that might not help with Get Owned clearly wanting to do this on the soft. I doubt he can go faster than a 137.5 on the medium tyre, so
yeah. Well, Zones is on another hot lap, and he actually is slightly faster. I only saw 0.04 of a second improvement this time. It was already a very quick lap time before, but if he's had a really good exit here, he could still jump himself further up. But he does improve, but he's still not quite there to a very towed up Vexit.
Yes, that's the critical point there. He's like, Zone still has had 0 toll, and he's doing those times. That's incredible.
Yeah. But then it comes down to this race, which is, it is a very heavy, massively heavy DRS track. You have to be within that range. If you get outside that train, you're in trouble. If you don't find a way to get back into it, you're pretty much done and dusted, and you're fighting for the track after that.
Do you think then that Zones will end up just sitting back in the race and accepting it for the first stint at least, just sitting in the train, and then eventually, like, when it comes pit stop phase, try and hammer time and get out of the 1 second margin for everyone?
I think realistically, Zones is going to try and bolt off the start. He's going to try and get ahead as quick as he can. He's going to try and pull a gap as quick as he can. And then he's going to try, and that's if he stays where he is. If he doesn't improve, which the chances are he probably will improve. But if he doesn't improve and stays P2, he's going to need to get past as quick as he can before we get to lap 3. He's going to need to then try and break that 1 second margin. And, based on the fact that Vexit did have the toe, and it is massive on this circuit, it is seriously really powerful, that I think Zones can actually break the 1 second margin. If he doesn't, by the time we hit lap 3, he's then just going to take his foot off the gas a little bit, just kind of go into cruise mode, let his ERS charge up, let his fuel generate if he needs to, or save fuel, and then just see what happens later on in this Grand Prix. If a safety car comes out, who knows, he might be able to try a one-stop.
Yep. And Florian setting a time on the softs. He didn't have any slipstream as well, but that is a long way behind his teammate. So not ideal for him for his first time, but he'll have time to go, fire back into the pits, get a new pair of boots on, and go again. He will just be cutting it a little bit close. He'll probably end up being the last one across the line, but sometimes that's what you want. That's when the grip should, in theory, be as optimal on the track. But that also is where you need to have some really big cojones, because the pressure's on. This is your final attempt. Everyone else in front of you, there's no one going to be improving behind you. So wherever you finish will be where you finish. That's the bottom line of it.
So we are reaching the calm before the storm stage, as a lot of the drivers are in fact in the pits. So it's a bit of a mix and match though. There are a fair few people that have already done laps and are bringing themselves back in again, but they're not really giving themselves a lot of time to get back in and go again. Look at Rainbow, for example. Yes, we know that the timing is a bit off from our screens in the top left-hand corner. What it says 2 minutes 30 remaining, it is actually more about 3 minutes now remaining for these drivers, so they should still have enough time to get round, get in, change boots and go again. But I'm pretty certain a fair few of these guys have done more than 3 runs on soft tyres.
So I can tell you that Rainbow is on his 3rd set just now. Danico and Higgsy and also Samaria, they have all these are the 3rd runs. Whether they used the same tyre or not, I don't believe they did. So yeah, that would mean that they will have an optimal tyre strategy, you would imagine, if they were to try and go again.
Right, keep an eye on Vexit, because if you look at the minimap, you'll see Rainbow up a bit further ahead on the track and going very slowly. Hopefully this time he can get it right, because he did hinder his teammate, despite the fact that Vexit did improve. So we are realistically looking at a very low 37 if this tow can be successfully pulled off. And it does make you wonder, what could Zones have done had he received the tow from his teammate? Surely we're talking high 36s.
Yep, Rainbow's actually pulled over on the track to let
oh no,
Hugo's go, and he's just had to get out of the way of Exit completely. So no slipstream for Vexit.
This is going to be really hard now for Vexit to actually improve this time. He did what he did before with the tow. Granted, it was only marginal, but this time he's going to have to do it completely alone with no tow from anybody. There's not even a back marker that's ahead of him that can give him that extra bit. As here comes Vexit, charging through ping and pong. Is this going to be enough? 7 seconds. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0 and a bit. It's not enough.
Nope, he did certainly need that slipstream, but Zones here, he looks to be on an absolute flyer at the moment. Just started his lap, a little bit of a lock-up, but this is the one to watch out for. This lap could put him on provisional pole. Now the problem again is he doesn't really have anyone in front of him, so if he is hoping for that slipstream, he's not going to get it.
He doesn't it doesn't seem like he actually needs it. Oh, Rainbow has been disqualified.
What happened there? Oh, it's because he was slowing down to let everyone by.
But I think you go for block it being on the track. There was no one near him at the point of when he got disqualified. So, interesting. So the stewards have been in touch. They said Rainbow has been asked to DQ on purpose because he has a quali ban. He is currently not serving. That would explain why he has been disqualified.
Well, then, if he was aware of that, Vexit might also be in trouble then for accepting the slipstream of his teammate, which I believe was a no-no from prior.
Yeah, there could be issues then for Red Bull potentially if the stewards did once again touch. But Zones is coming to the line. Is this going to be an improvement? It is, but not enough. He's so close, but just cannot quite get it. Danico goes up to P4. Get Earned is actually getting the teammate tow from his teammate. Florian had to dip, dive, and dodge out of the way there, and he should now be able to get his lap underway as well. I think he's got plenty of time. We'll see whether or not he still goes for it.
Reynolds are doing the slipstream. Brownie's helping Yolta out, trying to bring him up the field, but it looked like there was a little bit of a screen freeze or something, and Yolta looks like he's teleported back, and maybe that's me, because I've lost connection to Steam.
No, Vania joined, which is what has caused that screen freeze. Vania joining partway through. I can see that you have sadly disconnected. Let me know when you're back, and I will re-invite you.
Yep, I'm just connecting in again. Got that extra invite, so...
Perfect, even better. Higgsy is coming to the line as well, but he is in fact invalidated, so his lap will not count. And unless anybody's going for a double stint, that looks to be the end of qualifying. So Vexit is in P1. He's locked in a 37.431. So close between him and Zones, who's just there in P2, and Get Earned in P3.
Yep, so that's a really great lap there from Get On the exit, but the absolute standout performance was Zones there. Setting that time without any slipstream is just incredible.
Yeah, it is fantastic. I really can't wait to see how this race goes down. And again, this is a race actually where strategy is seriously important. It's not like Monaco where it was all about the qualifying. This is now more, yes, the qualifying is important, but starting P1 is not necessarily the best thing on this circuit because it's so huge to be in that train. If you can stay in it, ideally the sort of like P2, P3 is a really good place to be. If you can maintain pace with the race leader, then yeah, you're laughing. I think Zones, honestly, I do genuinely believe Zones will just find a way through very quickly and just blast his way through. Vania has come out of the pits and is driving.
This might be that glitch that we know about. So he might actually be able to set a time despite everything being over. Yeah,
the stewards may need a word with him potentially because this is a bit unfair, I think it's fair to say.
Yes, I would say that's again, he won't have the slipstream, but this is a bit on the no side. Again, we'll see. Unfortunately, you know, there's only so much that we can do from our point of view, you know, in regards to these bugs and things being in the game. So we'll see what Vanya does here, but he may need to be told to pull over.
Yeah, I've got a feeling that... Yeah, he's retired. There you go.
Yep.
Okay, so yeah, he's going to start at the back of the grid, or actually one place in front of the back of the grid, because Rainbow did in fact get DQ'd, as he was expected to. But here is the rundown at the end of that. Vexit getting pole position with Zones in P2, Get Earned P3, Danico right there in P4. And those are all separated by just 2 tenths. Some idiot outside of that, he's in P5, Brownie P6, Yolta P7, Hugo's P8, Florian P9 with Copy rounding out that top 10. And then Huni gets the best of the rest. Dennis in P12 with Higgsy just outside that 1 second margin in P13. Safso much further back there in P14. And I didn't get to catch the rest because everyone readied up too quick. We never get that. That never happens. We never have it where people ready up that quickly. And then the one time I can't quite get to the end, they all ready up really quick. But the skies are looking pretty clear, and I don't think we're going to be seeing any rain in this Grand Prix.
Yeah, it looks lovely and clear skies at the moment, so...
Yep. So I'm actually going to need to rely on you here. I need a very accurate P1, 2, 3, okay?
Okay, I'm going to say it's going to be Zones, Vexit, Get Owned.
Zones, Vexit, Get Earned. Okay. I'm with you on Zones. Vexit is good and very quick, and I think he can hold on to P2. Get Earned is the one that I'm not too sure about. Like, he's a very fast driver. He's a very consistent driver, but he does seem to get a bit caught up in situations. So we will have to see whether or not he can pull this back. Yeah, we'll wait and see. However, we are now underway with the formation lap being led around by Vexit, and I'm very excited for this Grand Prix.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. We definitely have a really good talent pool here, and with just how powerful the slipstream is, everyone's going to be nice and close into turn 1 pretty much every lap. So we'll see how this goes.
Well, I'm told Vexit means Vexit, so you got to believe he's going to get P1. But I am intrigued to hear from you guys in the chat. What are your predictions? Who's going to get P1? Who's going to get P2? And the third step of that podium will go to who? Let us know. I'll give you a shout out on the stream, and we will see. We'll see who can get it accurate. I mean, I've not been accurate on 100% prediction for a very long time, so there's a good chance I might be wrong again.
I mean, this is very true. I am very confident in my 1, 2, 3. I think you're right. Get On does have had some issues recently with penalties, but you know, so's Vexit, I believe, and
yeah, I mean,
overall
Vexit had issues in Spain. That was the last time I saw him have proper bad issues.
I think we'll be in for a treat regardless of how the top 3 finish. But the one thing I think that we do definitely need to keep out for is just the turn 1 shenanigans and turn 3 shenanigans, really, because this is a track where basically all through the kind of first sector, every turn is a potential for a crash.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Castle being the main one, obviously. That is the area we normally see mistakes made. Even the pros get it wrong there as well, so we shall see. But looking at the strategies, obviously all the top 10 have to start on the tire that they qualified on, but those outside of it get to choose what they want. Huni, Higgsy, Alex Bud, Vania, and Rainbow all have chosen the hard compound tires. Only Dennis and Safso have decided that the mediums are the way forward. We shall see whether or not this pays off for them, but they are all about to get into their grid boxes, and Vexit is going to be the man to lead us away up the start. It's going to be Zones, who's got the better line, realistically, in towards turn 1. He's got the inside line. He can just shut the door on Vexit. We'll see now if he can pull that off as the lights are on. They will go out, but hold your horses. And it's go time here in Baku. Looks like Vexit has actually got a pretty clean start. I don't think Zone's actually going to be able to get the jump he needs. No, he is not. Oh, there's a bit of contact, but no damage between them, so they're still keeping themselves alive. Everything seems to be okay down the back of the field as well. I'm not seeing any real problems. It's now coming in towards turn 2. How are we looking from there? Everybody seems to be still keeping themselves out of each other's wings. Oh, mistake from Alex. That's the rotation. He's kept himself out of the wall despite reversing into it. No damage for him, but it's still Vexit P1, Zones P2, Ghetto on P3.
And Florian looks like he's making a move here on Yolta, as Yolta's managed to get past Brownie. So Brownie had a little bit of a bad start, but there we go from Florian. He's just trying to make the move stick, but unfortunately just getting a little bit squeezed there. And Yolta manages to reclaim the position.
It was a bit question marks all around that one, to be honest. It was a bit of a dive from Yolta. He did kind of put himself in front of Florian. And, you know, there was not really anything that Florian could do apart from allow that to happen. Yellow flag sector 2. That is Alex Bud once more, having issues at the back. We shall see if he can recover that later, but a safety car is definitely going to be needed for him to get back into this. We shall watch, really, and observe if one even can be brought out. This is a track where safety cars are known to appear, especially as a result of Castle. We'll worry about that later.
Yep, Castle is just it's one of those sections where you just, if you're not perfect on it, well, unfortunately you're getting some damage.
Oh, look at Zones. Oh, actually, I thought he was going to stick that overtake on the whole way up, but he hasn't. It's Huni falling down to P16 as well. I didn't see exactly what happened, but he has fallen, that's for sure, and he's outside of the train, so he's going to have a lot of problems. Vexit obviously setting the fastest time because he's done turn 1. Oh, bit of a lock up there from Vexit and from Zones. They almost collided, and Geturned kind of just sat there and let it happen. We'll watch out for now. No damage from the top 3 as it stands, and that is going to be the main difference maker, I think. Brownie is actually able to get past Florian. Florian is starting to struggle a little bit from the power of the Renaults. Can he retaliate later? He did make a move on Yolta, like you said. That was in the next corner coming up, turn 4. If he can do it again. No, it doesn't look like he can. I think he needs to just bide his time, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm just having a look through the field, and it looks like everyone seems to just be kind of sitting back now. There's some gaps forming up. No one's really potentially close at the moment, but Zones is just following through at the moment, not trying to push Vexit too hard, just trying to keep running his own race, but he is there in the kind of line. If Vexit makes a mistake, then Zones can definitely capitalise. He's just sitting, biding his time. You know, he's got plenty of ERS and just waiting, and then he'll make his move once he feels confident. But right now, it looks like everyone in the top 3 at least are just biding their time. No one seems to be really trying to push too hard.
Florian is struggling though, I can see that for sure. He's actually lost the gap to the Red Bulls, sorry, the Renaults ahead. We actually have the Hugos, who's ready to send one on Florian, excuse me, and he's not going to hold back. Overtake mode has been engaged. The tow is not going to be that useful, but he is through regardless, up to P8. Copy may actually try and get into this as well. The timings are going to start showing correctly.
He's coming into the pits. He's got damage. Not sure if that was from the incident with Yolta, but yeah, he's needing to get a wing place, so disaster for Florian. So I imagine this is going to be hard tyres to the end, but that's not worked out too well for him.
Yeah, and actually Get On, his teammate, did have a bit of a slide coming through. That's a mistake from Samidia. Oh, big crash there into front of Get On. That was a mistake. I think he just completely didn't see the braking zone until it was too late. He tried to avoid the crash. You could see he made very evasive action to try and avoid Get On, but that was a severe crash from Samidia into Get On, and Huni has retired. I don't know if that is as a result, but a virtual safety car has been called.
No, Huni was in the pits. Huni was in the pits from that, but yeah, that's if only that safety car could have came out, you know, when Get On was on the home straight. That would have allowed him to come in for the pits and get his new wing pretty cheap. But that is disaster for him, and there's absolutely nothing he could do to avoid that. It's a shame. It's completely scuppered his race. He will also have to be on the same strategy as his teammates. Come in, get the wing replaced, and go on the hards and just hope for the best. But the McLarens are not having a good day today.
No. I mean, to be honest, it's a shame that that it happened in the way that it did. Sumit was actually looking really good to avoid, to actually be in with the fight of getting a nice podium position. You can see that it didn't even look intentional. It looked like he panicked the second he saw, crap, I've missed the braking zone, immediately making the dodge that he needed to try and get out of Get On's way. And I think all things considered, that was as close as it can get. And obviously, that incident is being investigated by the stewards. Rightly so. It definitely needs an investigation. And I think some idiot may feel a bit sad, a bit frustrated, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see a potential retirement.
Yeah, he's definitely someone who wears that kind of... That would bother him greatly. You know, he's usually a very, very clean driver. These kind of incidents, he'll definitely take that to heart, and it'll be kind of cutting him up a little bit, feeling that he's ruined both of their races.
Yeah, you know he's going to be straight into Get On's DMs, apologising profusely, because, like you said, it's just not his sort of driving manner. He is captain consistency for the most part. He is the guy who will also stretch his tyres out. He's actually someone who I would have thought, if anybody on the circuit would have gone soft mediums, I'd have imagined it would have been him. Because he just loves stretching those tyres, loves moving over to it. But at the end of the day, mistakes were made. He did completely miss that braking zone without a doubt. And yeah, all things considered, to have both cars still running with the pace that he was chucking into that corner, that's a miracle.
Yeah. Yeah, that was both very lucky boys to still be in the race, and you know the points are still on the table for them. You know, they're not so far out the way the points that it's completely, you know, out of touch already. They can still bring this back, but it's definitely going to be an uphill battle from now on.
Oh, I thought Zones was going to go for a move. He might actually
Yeah.
try it around the outside of turn 1. Vex is going to make it difficult for him. There's a little bit of contact between the two of them, and as somebody, it receives a 5-second time penalty in addition to the 5 seconds awarded by the game because of that contact. So it is needed, I think. Fair play. It is, whether it be an accidental mistake, is still a mistake. Carelessness, I think, is going to cause that. Oh, Sons, he nearly gave Vexit a bit of a hard kiss, but no, kept himself out of it, and they are still going strong up in P1-2. Danico right on the cusp of being in that DRS. I think he sees this, and he has to turn that wick up a little bit just before we get to any DRS zones.
See, he was within the zone, and then zones pushed off to like really made a dive for Vexit, and I don't know if that was just him trying to get Vexit to hurry up so he could break the gap to Danico. But unfortunately, because of just how much he attacked, that's actually slowed them both down, and now they've fell back into the clutches of Danico, making this once again a three-way train.
Indeed. Zones, though, is right there on the back of Vexit. This time there's going to be no defense for Vexit. Zones should be able to close in quite... Although he's actually lost a fair bit of time. We've got a yellow flag. That is through turn 1-2. That is Alex Budd once more.
Safety car. Safety car.
Oh, yeah. Full safety car. So maybe... Oh, this is sad for Getone and Florian. They've both pitted and gone onto the medium compound tyres. All of these ahead are more than sufficiently ahead of the McLarens to be able to pit and bring themselves back out again. And Getone gets a drive through for speeding under the safety car.
It's unbelievable.
And what makes that worse is he can't serve it until the safety car is over.
Yep, that's unfortunate. And everyone you can see is everyone in the front is just coming into the pits. This is the perfect time to do it. Higgsy's in. Oh, Rainbow. Yes, so Rainbow's on the hard tyres.
Yep.
So Rainbow is staying out and now leads this Grand Prix in front of his teammate. Very interesting. Zones now has to contend with both Red Bulls.
Well, one of which has to pit, the other one doesn't, and that's the thing. Zones now is in a bit of a situation here, because if Vexit, and I can almost guarantee you there's going to be some team orders between Red Bull, they're going to say, let me go, and you can hold Zones back. And, you know, that is just the way that it goes. So Zones, no, even, like you said in the qualifying, Zones is at risk here of not having a teammate. Obviously, Vanya wasn't there for the qualifying session until the very end. He is here and in P6, so he's still doing well for the team. But he can't be any sort of defense for Zones at all. Whereas Vexit has Rainbow to be deployed, can use him to try and break a gap there. Because like I said, once you're outside that 1 second margin, it is so hard to break it down again. This could be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, we saw the Zones has incredible pace under qualifying conditions, you know, without getting that slipstream. It was still right there at the front of the field, so he can definitely bring it back once the gap's been made. However, the problem that he has is more when he arrives to the scene, you know, onto the back of Exit. He might have nothing left to play with in terms of like his ERS and things, and he might use up too much of the tyres. So it depends how long it would take him to get past Rainbow. I don't imagine Rainbow is going to allow Vexit past in an area where it would be easy for Zones to then also pass him. So it's most likely going to allow Vexit to do it within DRS, and then it takes Rainbow to just start holding Zones up in the corners. And once that's done, once you've kind of done that job there, that after even just turn 4 or 5, Vexit should be gone. He should be out of that 1 second margin straight away.
Okie dokie. Rainbow leading as it stands, obviously due to the safety car. It will allow those that are further back, like Getone. Obviously, he's kind of to be honest, pretty much out of this race now. He's going to have to do a drive-through post-safety car, whereas Florian, I guess he could bring himself back into this to get some sort of points for the constructors. They are the constructors' leaders, remember? So this is still very good for them. Williams, somebody obviously having that huge mistake will hinder their chances of closing in that little bit more. Obviously, Hugo's is doing a very good job though up in P6, and he will be able to gain more on that because Rainbow will probably fall right the way down the field when he goes to the pit lane. And then, realistically, if I was to say against those ahead of him, at least two of those drivers, I would say Hugo's has got the skill and pace to get past. It's just how we finish up.
Have just realised, Brownie, he must have got held massively with the double stack.
Yeah.
Because it was a Renault 4.5, or would have been 3.4 at the time when they came in, and he's dropped all the way down to 8th. So I don't understand how the Racing Points managed to both get out in front of them when they all came into the pits at the same time. You would imagine that they also would have had the double stack effect, but it must have either got held as people were coming in as well as the double stack problem. So yeah, massively unlucky for Brownie.
I mean, Brownie, he's very good in these situations at bringing himself back into the races. He is quite an emotional driver, so this may have an effect on him mentally. But again, it comes down to the experience, it comes down to the maturity, and he is somebody who can just focus on the task at hand, pressure himself to go further and faster, and I expect that he's going to be passing Copy well, maybe not Hugo's. Although he did do that in Spain, remember? They had a really good fight right the way through the entire Grand Prix. Maybe they can repeat that today.
Yeah, maybe. I'm just having a look though, and yeah, I think, realistically speaking, the times that they've been putting in, obviously pre-safety car, Hugo's was very inconsistent. I don't know if that was potentially traffic and such, but Brownie, in theory, could run a little bit more consistent and faster than him. So we'll see what happens. The safety car should come in at the end of this lap, we should wager, which should give Alex just enough time to catch back up. He's come flying down the home straight now, so he'll be caught up to the back of this pack, provided he doesn't have any turn 1 instance. And yeah, the full train of 16 remaining drivers will get underway at the end of this lap, we would presume.
Yep, indeed. Okay, safety car is still very much at large. Like you said, it's very likely to come in on this lap, because I think it's not going to wait for everybody to close in. It will wait for the majority, which is exactly what we have right now. I'm looking at the grid. I'm thinking Racing Point looking pretty good. Renault have got a good chance to score some big points as well here. Yolta, very uncharacteristically, and I don't want to make him look bad in it at all, but in F1 2020, Yolta has not found his groove. He's struggled quite hard since coming into this game. Mixture of reasons: lack of practice, schoolwork, the whole situation with what's going on in the world, and maybe just a passion towards the game potentially. But today, P4. Very good run from him so far. He had a lot of help in hand in the qualifying. He's been able to secure a nice race strategy as a result of that. His teammate has been hindered slightly, but, this is Renault. This is how they do, and they will bring this back later on.
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely count on Brownie to be giving it his all right until the end. And as you say, he's usually very consistent and very good at kind of managing the tyres underneath him. So yeah, we can definitely see Renault finish very, very strong in this race.
Safety car is in this lap. Now Rainbow will start back in the pack right on up and is going to be communicating to his teammate, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see a bit of a swapperoo here between the two Red Bulls. It's going to be try and let Vexit pass as quick as he can, hold Zones back as much as he can, and Zones is going to be very aware that this could happen. He knows these two will be communicating, and Zones feeling a bit like a lone wolf here at the front of the grid. He's very much surrounded, backed into a corner, and it's when does Rainbow decide it's time to go?
Yep.
Oh no!
Oh, what?
He got hit in the back, it looks like, by Yolta. And that's a penalty that's been applied. That might likely be removed. Zones is trying to find a way. As soon as the Red Bulls go, he's just going to bolt. There he is. No. Rainbow's gone. Now Zones has gone as well. Vexit has actually read the situation too, probably because he's been in cahoots. But Zones is trying to hold Yolta back whilst closing in even closer to the Red Bulls. He's not been caught out. This is fantastic stuff, but he cannot let Vexit get past Rainbow.
Yeah, and as you say, that penalty that he received will get removed unless Zones for some reason needs to have another pit stop, which means that he'll end up serving it in the pits. But looks like Vexit has now made that move into turn 3 on Rainbow. This was probably pre-planned, and Rainbow will now try and hold up Zones all through these corners here and make this as difficult as possible. But Zones is already going for it.
Oh, he's hit the wall. I think that's wing damage. I can't see the wing. Has he got him? Oh,
no, he's good.
He's lucky there. But Yolta's actually looking for a move as well down the inside. He can't quite get that one stuck through, so Yolta will have to fall back in. And this has been a nightmare. Look at the gap already between Rainbow and Vexit. Rainbow has been instructed, as I predicted, to back Zones up and let me run. Vexit, he needs to pull a bigger gap than that, though, because I feel Zones is just going to ditch Rainbow very quickly on the home straight.
Yep, it's definitely within it, the way he's got the car set up, the wings and things. He just seems to be a lightning bolt on that straight. So, will he manage to get it to happen this lap? The more Rainbow stays in front, the better this is for Vexit. He's up to a 1.5 second gap. But can Zones do this into turn 1?
The gap is a bit too big, I think. Although we haven't yet got a DRS, remember, because we have to wait 2 laps after a full safety car before we see the DRS being available. 1.4. The gap is still holding as it is. The Zones will have to wait 1 more lap before we can see that DRS being re-enabled. A big locker from both of those drivers, actually, as they come through into turn 1. That's also Hugo's. He ran deep into turn 1. Copy also getting a little bit caught out, I think, there. Danico is up in P5 cozily. And Rainbow's actually... Sorry, Brownie's just got past Hugo's.
Yep, Brownie's made the move stick, but Copy also managed to get past Hugo's. I missed that one. But Brownie now trying to make the close in again on Copy and just try and move his way up through the field again. Get back up to the gearbox of his teammate.
And if he can do it quickly before DRS becomes available, that means he will be able to then get onto Danico and use that to then close back in, like you say, onto his teammate. Yolta is just outside that margin. It's actually just jumped up a couple of tenths as I said that. And this has honestly just been a nightmare for Zones. This is such a hard circuit to overtake in the latter half of the first sector or the second sector. And, you know, now he's going to have to go for it here, but he can't. Rainbow is just going so slow. You could argue on purpose.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, he is slowing down a little bit, but I also think that, you know, Zones just has that much pace to be right on the gearbox, you know. Yes, he's being held up. But I don't know if Rainbow is still in a zone where he's not pushing too much. A little bit of a love tap there from Zones just onto Rainbow's gearbox. A little bit of a lock up from Rainbow, and it's just sent him a little bit out. But here, this is going to be nice and easy for Zones. All you need to do is just stick in the slipstream, make a dive into turn 1, and we're all Gucci. So here he goes.
Yeah, you know Rainbow's going defensive. Look at that, all the way to the inside. DRS has now been enabled. This is going to be a chance here for Zones. It's going to be a switch back of dreams because Rainbow's got deep in towards turn 1. Zones has played that perfectly. There's a bit of contact between them, but Zones is back up into P2. And now Rainbow's going to be a little bit desperate. He's got the DRS here. He might actually go for a lunge in towards turn 3. I think his gap is a bit too much, but he's still committing to it. He actually closed in a lot faster than he thought he was. And no, he's not going to lunge it. No, I thought he was going to lunge it there. It looked like it, but he decided against it. And now Zones realizes what he's got to do. He has to utilize what's left of his ERS to try and close in on Vexit as quick as possible. And we've had a McLaren in the wall. That is Florian. I think he took the runoff. I don't think he hit the wall. I think his wing is still intact. Yes, it is. It was the runoff. But still, that drops him to P15.
Yep, and the gap is indeed coming down. So this is just showing the incredible pace of Zones. He's already managed to close in 8/10 this lap. Yeah. That's just incredible.
It's
and you know, the DRS is activated, so if Rainbow can stay within this, he might still be in this fight for the podium. Obviously, he still needs to pit, so it won't be there at the end of the race. But if he could just keep with these guys and just run his race and stay at the kind of the pace that they're running at, this will do wonders for his race later when he comes in.
And the hards last forever on this circuit. They're not a poor performing tyre even slightly. They can do what he's trying to do with them, so expect zones to really go the distance. And Danico in with a shout here of getting Yolta. The toe is huge. He's going to be in the braking zone of turn 1. Are they going to be able to hold it together? Yolta's going to try and defend this. Deep in towards turn 1. No contact between them. And Danico gets himself ahead up to P4. And now it's going to be a Racing Point Renault. With Hugo's trying to spoil the pattern.
Yeah, and Danico, we saw, we see most races, Danico has a little bit of an issue with getting some penalties as well, but so far, no one has any time penalties for, cutting the tracks or anything. Although, since the walls are so close, generally speaking, if you're cutting the track, you're probably in the wall, so...
Yeah.
Although, I actually did get an invalid time earlier by cutting the curb at Castle, which I didn't realise you could do.
You may have clipped the wall.
I definitely didn't hit the wall, but I was a bit concerned when it came up saying I invalidated my lap time, because I was like, how? There's only 2 meters of gap here, like 2 meters between wall to wall. How can I cut a corner?
Interesting. There's 2 areas really where you can get warnings for corner cutting, which is you've got the bit before Castle, that right-hander. You can cut that just a bit too much, but also you got the esports corner, where it is very easy to do. Danico on the back of Rainbow now. DRS will be available for him. He's already got his DRS in overtake mode. He's actually going to get this move done, I think, before we even get to the DRS zone. Here he comes now with the wing wide open. He's actually turned his DRS off because he realizes what is needed, and I believe Rainbow is in the pits because he has wing damage on the right-hand side.
Yeah, I didn't see where he got that damage, but I noticed that the gap just massively increased from Vexit and Zones, but Zones has absolutely no ERS left, and Vexit's still got plenty, so I think what Zones needs to do is, right, anytime you're under 10%, your deployment is weakened. So I think, for the next couple of laps, Zones just needs to start trying to build his ERS back up, not worry about the gap to Vexit too much, and allow himself that chance to get his ERS top back up, and then when it does come, above the 20% mark or so you can start utilising it again, just so that you can then pull in that gap slowly chip it down. But right now it's hindering him through the other sectors, but he is just so good around Castle that he's manages to catch up so much, and now he's just within that DRS zone.
Both the McLarens are outside of the points as it stands. We've got the Mercedes, both of them in the points, one at the very front nearly, and the other one near the very back. You got Williams, who have one of the drivers obviously had a major issue. He does have quite a large penalty in this game due to a mistake. I do want to stress it was a mistake. It wasn't intentional in the slightest. You could see by his immediate reaction to it. I think he understands, yep, fair play. There's going to be no contest on that penalty, I think. But still, oh, yellow flag. Safety car again. Alex has retired. That's a crash. So Rainbow has been rescued.
Zones came into the pit.
Mediums.
He literally, the safety car came out just as he was about to cross the pit lane, and he's now come in for medium tyres.
Oh.
This is huge.
Let's see what
no! He has to serve his 5-second penalty now.
He can't even get rid of it.
He can't get rid of it. This is now holding up Vanya. This is... this could have cost him this race. Yeah. That 5-second penalty was nonsense, both for Yolta and for Zones. Again, there's nothing unfortunately we can do about this. The game will do what the game does, but that could have cost Zones this one. But what he does have now in his favour is he will be in the train and he will have his ERS topped back up. So once the racing gets underway again, he will be able to go as fast as he can with a full battery and see if he can take the fight. Because now, just due to the location that the safety car came out, it will be very unlikely that Vexit will want to come into the pits. He does not have the gap. He would lose track position. It just wouldn't be worth it for him. So we'll see. What would you do in this situation?
I mean, I think Zuns did the right thing by pitting onto the mediums, but I think he realised actually, whoops, I forgot that I had a penalty. I got to serve it. There's not a lot I can do about it. I can't now get that removed. But at the same time, he's absolutely made the right call. I mean, even if you look at it, he's still ahead of everyone else who decided to pit. So he's still going to be overall better than every single driver. I don't think he's actually lost anything. The only thing he did do was he did hinder his teammate, like we said. Vexit's in. So this could be the response needed. Daniko, is he looking to come in as well? Yes, he is. Yolta stays out, though, so he's going to try and go the distance. Copy's staying out as well. Brownie in there, too. Hugo's is in the pits. Higgsy stays out. This is going to be a very interesting ending to this Grand Prix. We have 11 laps to go. Probably got one more before the safety car is in. And then we can get back underway with the racing.
And let's just see, does Zones manage to get out in front of Daniko? Yes! He's not lost anything. That 5-second penalty did not cost him anything now. He is in the exact same position that he would have been.
So lucky in that respect then. That it was timed the way it was and it ended up the way it did. So good news for Zones. He does obviously have a bit of a gap, but he can close that in pretty quickly, realistically. He's only literally around the corner, and then that's it. We are back to where we were before. The safety car may actually stay out for one more lap due to the fact that the pack isn't yet all together.
Yep, that will probably happen. Which, is fine. Just means one less lap of under full race speed, but the lap here is so long, it just means that we are going to have to provide the entertainment, so I apologise for that.
Well, I'm going to give you an opportunity to review your top 3, because this race has been all kinds out of shit, hasn't it? We've seen safety cars, we've seen stop-go penalties, we've seen an almost murder. Give me your top 3 following this moment on.
Honestly, I think it's going to be Vexit, Zones, Yolta.
Yolta? Okay.
Yep.
See, if I was going to go for anybody who's going to do well here by those that have stayed on the mediums, I would have honestly given it to Browning, because Brownie is the more consistent driver. He's usually the quicker of the two. But Yolta today has surprised me. He has genuinely delivered a very good performance. My issue for him is that he doesn't always make the right... Like earlier, you saw the dive he did on Rainbow. It was very marginal. He did manage to get himself back into the position, but that could have gone very, very wrong. And if it had done, then that would have been Yolta's race done and dusted. So he's got to keep himself level-headed. He's got to focus on the end goal. I'm going to go Vexit... I'm actually going to go Zones Vexit. But I actually think Hugo's.
So, I would normally agree with you with Brownie. However, the problem that I think that Brownie's going to face right now is he most likely is going to be fighting with Copy. That'll slow Copy and Brownie both down. While at the same time he's going to have to start defending from Vexit and Zones. So he is in a very uncomfortable position. Whereas Yolta, if Brownie and Copy start fighting straight away, he can build up a bit of a gap, and yes, once Vexit and Zones start flying through, then they are going to disappear. And the reason I've said Vexit and Zones is literally because of the traffic. If it was them allowed a straight fight for the rest of this, I would say Zones probably would come out on top. But due to... They're going to have to kind of work together a little bit to get through this field, Vexit's going to try and put a car between them at all times, but realistically speaking, the people on the hards are trying to lose as little time as possible while Vexit and zones come through. So they might let zones by once Vexit gets past, and that just puts Brownie in a very difficult position to both try and attack and take the position from Copy and Yelta, while also having a very, very fast running Vexit and very fast zones coming through.
Yep. Safety car is in. Florian has got a 5-second penalty for a severe collision with his teammate. The day gets worse for McLaren, and just when you thought it couldn't get, it did. So, Yolta, now he controls the restart in this Grand Prix. It's going to be Copy hunting him down in P2 and Brownie in P3. He's going to be trying to get past Copy as quick as he can, and then the Renaults are going to be working together in a similar fashion to what we saw from the Red Bulls, except it's going to be I tow you, you tow me, and we're going to be a happy family. As Yolta's gone, he's disappeared. Copy didn't get caught out, but Brownie did. That is a pretty large gap going on between them. Higgsy also got caught, but Vexit did not. He is very much in that gearbox of Higgsy. He's going to go for a potential move down the inside of turn 1. It's going to be a hard breaker zone. He's going to surely make it work. Bit tight on the inside there, but yes, he's done it. He's up there into P4, and this is big. Zun's actually got past Higgsy as well. He needs to make sure that he doesn't get caught out by any maneuvers that Vexit should pull off. And Zun's made a move work where he absolutely had to in order to not get caught sleeping.
And Yolta there went very early. He was opening himself up for a move into turn 1, but Copy just couldn't get the gap down enough to make that stick. But yeah, it kind of caught out Brownie. But as you say, Brownie's caught back up to the pack, and now he's got the exact thing that I said that he was going to be dealing with. He's going to be trying to attack Copy 3/10 behind him, while also having Vexit 3/10 behind him. So he's in a very precarious situation now.
Yeah, Brownie needs to hurry up, but he can't really do anything about it. This isn't an area of the track you can overtake. This is, though, potentially on the exit of this corner. If he can get the drive he needs out of it, which he didn't quite get, then it is going to be... I mean, Copy's just turned the wick up, because Yolta at one point was over a second ahead of Copy, and it looked like he was just going to run off into the sunset. But he brought that back down again, and Copy is now 7/10 behind Yolta. Vexit very, very close to the back of that Renault, and I don't think Brownie's going to have any answer to this now. This is surely going to be a very easy overtake for Vexit with all that tow that he has available. Obviously, DRS is disabled until the end of this next lap, as here comes Vexit looking for Brownie. Brownie gives him all of the space. He realizes this is not the fight he wants, but Zones, he's actually quite far back here. He might not actually get him.
No, he definitely seemed to have... I don't know if it was the dirty air or something, but it seemed to struggle through ping pong. But he will most likely get Brownie on the run up to turn 3, so he's not really lost anything. Vexit's still held up behind Copy, so he's not exactly going to be having an issue. But Brownie doesn't look like he's activating the DRS. He should have DRS now. No.
After the safety car, you don't have it for 2 laps. So
yep.
There's no DRS available. But obviously, this does mean, though, that it's much harder to attack. Oh, Brownie's made a mistake. That's actually caused Zones a lot of time. There's going to be over a second gap, especially with the fact that Vex is going for a move on Copy. Yep, yellow flag sector 3. That is Dennis. I think that's a pit lane retirement. That wouldn't be a surprise. Yeah, I think it is. And we also have Vanier, who's right at the back there. He's had to go into the pits, I think, due to wing damage. So he's on the soft. Samidia and Higgsy. They're in a side-by-side scrap as well. Rainbow's trying to get himself involved in this once more. And he's going to be trying to go for a little look-see. But that's... Oh, no, Higgsy! Higgsy just locked up, made a mistake, and he's had to use the runoff area. And that is him now right at the back of the grid. Florian! He's crashed! Virtual safety car has been called.
Did he crash into Higgsy there?
No, he hit the wall.
An issue?
He hit the wall. Higgsy was in the runoff area. Florian just hit the wall. He basically did a Kubica.
That's not ideal. Not ideal at all. And that's another safety car, which
virtual at this time
kind of saves Copy. Zones was in a position where he could have overtaken him. He was right on the gearbox, and then this virtual safety car comes out during the main overtaking area, and this really helps out Vexit as well. Just having another gap between him and Zones, and that's a virtual safety car away, and Zones now needs to get a move on.
Yeah. Could this race be any more against Zones if we tried? Safsa's retired now. He's actually retired from a crash. But that is a mistake there. That's out of turn one and into the wall. No safety car this time, or at least not yet. We'll see if one does get transition. But Yolta,
I think we've hit the max amount of safety cars. I think we're only allowed 4 in a 50% race. So
I don't think it counts VSCs there.
Ah, okay.
Could be wrong. Zones and Copy have swapped places. Zones, yeah, Copy didn't even try and fight that. The Zone's obviously much faster right now. Like a machine, trying to just charge his way forward. This is looking really good for Zones to take Yolta as well pretty early. Vexit once more has been given an opportunity to run. He's got the 1 second margin that he needed. Now Zones has to pass Yolta very quickly and then get back into that DRS zone of Vexit and then worry about how he's going to overtake him after that.
Yep, and Hugo's has been right on the gearbox of Brownie all through this lap, so I expect he's going to attempt to move into turn 1. He just needs to be patient, stay behind him during ping pong, and he should have an opportunity.
Yeah, no overtake mode being engaged yet because he realizes that if you catch him in this area of the track, you're in trouble. But now he can turn it on. Now he can cruise on past Yolta. The DRS will be available to him as well, so he should use this to break that gap down to Zones. I mean, it's a 1.6 as it's sorry, to Vexit. 1.6 as it stands. Let's see where he gets when he gets to the end of the lap as Vexit sets
it's
a
going to
new
go
fastest lap.
three-way. Yep, there's Hugo's there. Made a move on Brownie, made it stick, but then just caught that curb and really went into Copy. And now he's just hitting to Get On. Get On's having an absolute nightmare of a race.
I mean, it's just McLaren in general, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Yeah, they're not having a good time just now, and you can see Get On, you know, shaking the wheel in anger there. He's just not enjoying this race at all.
I mean, he's been literally dealt blow after blow after blow, and he just cannot, for the life of him, catch a break. I think, realistically, that is the McLaren boys, both of them outside of the points, and that's if Get On decides to continue racing. Danny Co is in this train for effectively P4. The gap is a bit too big ahead of them for them to really close it in. I did have hopes that Hugo's was going to get the P3, but look at P12. Look who's brought his gap down to less than a second.
And right now, my 1, 2, 3 is standing strong.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's not over yet. Yolta still needs to defend from Copy, and Zones, you know, what can he do against Vexit? Vexit's been really powerful in this Sector 3, but it's now, at this point in time, where Zones is going to get the slipstream. You know, he doesn't look like he's going to have DRS this lap. I think he was just going to be outside it, but he should still get a little bit of a slipstream up the straight. And he's just so powerful in sectors 1 and 2. So, can he bring that gap down? You know, it's definitely within the realms of possibility.
Well, I've just heard from the stewards that an incident between Zones and Brownie will be investigated after the race. We'll see. I don't actually remember which incident that was. I don't remember them actually having any contact.
I don't either, so
maybe that happened off camera potentially. We shall have a review later and see if we can figure it out. But however, we have seen that Zones has been the driver to get the new fastest lap, so he's looking to potentially get it all. He didn't get the perfect weekend because Vexit did get pole position, but he can get the remainder. He can take everything that matters away from Vexit, which is the win and the fastest lap. Although Vexit is responding, he has pulled over a 1 second gap now between the two of them, so it's going to be crucial.
Watch how much time Zones gets through Castle. It'll be within 7/10 if just from Castle alone. He's been doing this every lap. It's incredible.
Look at that.
There
You're
you
not
go.
wrong at all.
7/10.
That was
but
impressive.
this is now, as soon as after Castle, like, Vexit just goes. Like, he just seems to have less wings on, and basically by the time it gets to the, you know, the ping pong, that second gap usually comes back. So Zones needs to really be on it right now to just try and stay within this. And it looks like this time he's done it. He has done it, but he has 0 ERS. Now he needs everything for the DRS so he can charge up that battery because he is on 0%.
Yeah, I mean, the DRS will bring him closer. Again, he needs to rely on this DRS to bring him within that 1 second margin in time for the run up towards turn 3. Otherwise, all of this is going to be for nothing. The gap is just outside of it. He's now in it. I think. Where's the detection line? It's there. He's got it. DRS has been obtained, so he can use this. A little bit of extra ERS is obtained as well to close in a little bit more. And I think realistically now, that gap is going to stay less than a second pretty much until the end of this Grand Prix. It's just how does Zones generate enough ERS to potentially do something? As somebody is looking for a move here on Brownie, he can't quite get it through turn 3. Bit of a mistake there from Brownie on the braking. That means that somebody could potentially look for a little switch down the inside. Nope, the line is too tight. The gap has been closed, and we're going to stay as is, unless he goes for a yeet here. He's having a little look, scaring Brownie just a touch. More lockups for Brownie. Somebody again, can he get the exit? Nope, the back end steps, and that causes him issues. And look at Zones. This is the bit where he closes in that bit further. You know he's fast. Is it going to be 4 tenths this time? What do you reckon? 5?
I think he's going to get it to the 4th, yeah.
5. He got it to 5. It was close. It was close.
But yeah, this is their ERS are now pretty similar as well. You know, just from getting that kind of DRS back, it's allowing him to bring up his battery reserves. Now, I don't expect him to try and make a move on this lap, but he is now beginning to get the tools to play with again. So he'll just slowly be reeling Vexit in, and he knows he still has a few laps. You know, this isn't do or die time.
Yeah. Well, so here's something that I am seeing. There is a suspicion that Zones is running very high wings, which would explain why he's not getting anything, despite the fact that he's having DRS wing wide open. So, Zones was always expecting this to happen. He was always expecting to be sat behind somebody and just use their toe, ERS and DRS, and use all of that aero that he's going to have to then work closer on the driver ahead. This means then that he's going to have to do a move on the last lap. He can't do it the lap before, because if he does, he's going to be in trouble and vulnerable to the final lap. So he's going to have to just manually close it back in until the final lap, and then do it all there. But if he's got the aero to do it in the higher downforce areas, he should be laughing.
The thing is, I don't know if he's actually running that high wings, because yes, Vexit looks like he's running lower wings, but realistically, when it was the train at start when Danny Cole was trying to catch them, you know, it wasn't like Danny Cole was making massive inroads on Zones, so he can't be running wings that are too high.
Yeah, I mean, only one person knows how well they're doing in terms of wings. Rainbow, though, he's just got himself a 3-second time penalty. So, yeah, I'm being told if he doesn't have high downforce, then we need to vote for Setio. So it's him. He is the imposter.
Setio is sus.
Yeah, very sus. There you go. Look at the ERS now for Zones. 25%. This is fantastic. He's able now to use a little bit, not too much, just to close in a touch more. He does have a couple more laps to charge that battery as much as he possibly can. No real overtakes happening further down the field. There is still that huge train for P4 onwards. But it's not changing.
And just to point out, Vexit's ERS at the end of that straight was in the single digits, which means that the deployment for him would be down massively. Even though you've still got some in your percentage, like, you do not get the full power once you reach single digits. So, this is now Vexit on the verge of running out of pace, effectively. He's managed to get it back up through Sector 1 and the braking zones here, but he's still so far behind on the zone.
Somebody has gone for a lunge. Oh no, Copy's been caught up in it. There's damage for him. Rainbow's getting involved as well. This is absolute carnage down the back of the field. 2 cars have been rotated. That's Copy and Brownie. Somebody went for a lunge down the inside of Brownie. That was what looked to have set it all off, because it was just contact, spinneroonie, and lots of mistakes being made. Brownie and Copy are the ones to suffer the biggest losses. Somebody is back up to P5 before his penalties are applied and before any stewards get involved as well. That was definitely not the move to make there, some idiot.
And Get Owned is back into some good points, like paying positions. Yes, he's still got wing damage, so making moves in front is probably not going to be good. But 7th after the race that he's had, I'll take that. That's a great recovery.
And it's a huge feel sad for Copy, because he was just biding his time. He was in P4, he was just doing his own thing, having a nice little old time, and then boom, immediately he finds himself rotated, wing damaged, right at the back of the grid. No doubt he's going to have to bring himself into the pits, and Danico is potentially looking for it. As again, he's going for a lunge as well.
Ooh.
In towards. Oh no, that's not the decision to make, Geton. You do not want to send it that deep, and Geton has gone into the side of some idiot. And it's just carnage on the streets of Baku. This is not the way to end this race.
And remarkably, Geton did not lose a position there because of the gap that they had to Hugo's. But Hugo's is now right on him. Looks like he's going to try and make a move. It's going to be pushed to the outside. Another lockup from both of them. Oh, that was dangerous. That could have been a race-ending move in turn 1 and another one in turn 3.
So, to make you aware, the incident between Samidiot, Copy, and Brownie, and I also suspect Rainbow, because he looked like he was knee-deep in that as well, will be investigated after the race. And I imagine we're probably going to hear from the stewards again in a second when we hear as to whether or not there is going to be an instant investigation in between the Getund and Samidiot.
And if you like to direct your eyes back to zones, this looks like this might be his moment to go. He's brought the gap down. I suspect he's not going to make a move until turn 3 because he knows he can just disappear in sectors 1 and 2. So if he stays here, stays in the back in turn 1, gets the DRS into turn 3, then that should be him. But he's very, very close now. Is he going to go for it? Oh, a bit of a lock-up. He should have just been a little bit more patient. He might have now just cost himself this win.
No, I don't think he has. He's still good. He's still got the DRS here. He's still going to burn a lot of this ERS, I think, as well. Ultimately, he doesn't actually have to do anything right now. He actually just needs to bide his time. He knows, like I said, this goes back to the suspicion. If he has got the higher wings, then the chances are...
Final lap.
Yeah, because exactly. So he doesn't have to do anything right now. He just has to wait. Sit tight until we get onto that final run. Make sure he gets the exit of Dreams onto the long back straight. And then just do it. Just send it. And then easy peasy lemon squeezy. Charge your battery now. But he's panicking. You can see the panic starting to set here because he has to worry about, do I have enough ERS? Can I keep the gap closed up enough? Do I need to worry about if Exit could just suddenly pull away? But if he could see how on par they are in terms of ERS, Sons wouldn't panic so much. He would just use this gap and keep working Vexit down.
I don't think he's got the pace to beat him on the straight is the problem. You know, he's right on the gearbox again, but Vexit just pulls up too much of a gap in the straight before the line. So I think if he'd done it into turn 3, then he would have been able to build up enough gap that Vexit wouldn't be able to catch him come this straight. I think this is a win for Vexit.
I think it's mainly due to the fact that Zones didn't do as I said, which is manage that ERS. Vexit, who did everything he needed to do, may have actually just kept himself ahead. 7 tenths. 8 tenths now is the gap. Vexit, what a machine he is. P1 to P1, and Zones gets P2. Yolta will cross the line in P3. And I think you may have just got yourself a 100% prediction, mate.
Yes, I did. 100%. I will. I'll take any trophies and things that you're offering, but oof, I did not realise that 5-second time penalty there for Yolta. But obviously that also is probably going to get removed anyway. But yeah, that's that was close, even with that.
Yeah, Higgsy jumped up to P8 as well, scoring himself a nice bunch of points. And obviously, there are a fair few incidents to be investigated by the stewards. You know, we're looking at Geton, we're looking at some idiot, we're looking at Brownie. Yeah, there's a fair few to go in there. The stewards have just been in touch to let us know that the incident between some idiot and Geton will be investigated, although I think that one's pretty clear cut. I think we know what happened there. We know who's at fault, and we know how that one's going to go down. But Rainbow is the driver of the day. He started at the very back of the grid. Finished, I think, P7?
I think technically finished P4 there.
Oh,
you
sorry.
alright, son?
Minor coughing fit there. I don't know what happened, but we are all good. I promise you it's not COVID. But we are going to get the rundown. Here we go. Is Vexit, after a very, very scary final few laps, he did finish in the race win position after starting on pole, so very well done from him. Zones had a moment where he could have got it. I think, honestly, even with the wings being as high as they were, had he just managed his DRS better on that final lap, he could have easily got that move done. And then job would have been a good one. But sadly, nothing to come of it. He will stay P2. Still a very good points position, but not the win. Yolta P3, Rainbow P4, some idiot P5 before the stewards get hold of him. Danny Co P6, Hugo's P7, Higgsy P8, Geton P9, again before the stewards get hold of him. Vanya getting the final point position, and he could actually technically be in with a chance of scoring a fair few more points, but it depends on how big of a penalty Geton does in fact get. Brownie is in best of the rest in P11. He did get the fastest lap, so he will take the point away from everybody ahead. Copy, P12, Safso P13, Safso, Florian, Dennis, Alex, and Huni are all the DNFers from this Grand Prix. And that leaves me with a final question for you, sir. Who is your driver of the day?
To be honest, I would give it to Yolta. He drove a really clean race. He's got that 5-second penalty, but that was a safety car incident that will definitely be removed. It doesn't need to be. He's maintained P3, but a great drive from him from 7th. He seemed like he was struggling a little bit in qualifying, to be honest. He was needing to get the slipstream from his teammate, but after that, he had a really good race. He showed good pace and just done exactly what he needed to do to get onto that podium. So I would give it to Yolta.
I'm in agreement with you, actually. It's very nice to see Yolta up there on the podium, and will be in the interview room in just a moment as well. It's been a very long time since I've seen that, and I'm very, very glad that we can do that here today. So let's go, in fact, do exactly that. Let's go find out where he is, and we'll drag his beautiful backside in here. And there it is, Yolta. I didn't think, I'll be honest with you, and I don't take this in the wrong way, I didn't think I was going to be seeing you in the commentary room with us at all this season, because you've had a very hit and miss run so far this season, but today something clicked. What happened?
To be honest, I don't really know. I mean, I guess I got some luck as well in the race itself, obviously with the safety cars and stuff, but yeah, I guess it just worked. I got up to speed quite quickly, so that helped.
Obviously, at the end of the race, you did go onto the hard tyres when the second safety car came out, and then you decided, that's it, I'm staying out. I don't need to do anything more now. It's just take these to the end. Was there a moment where you weren't quite sure this was all going to work for you?
Well, I mean, I was kind of forced into it because I accidentally tapped zones, and it gave me a 5-second stop go. So if I put it would have served it for me. So
I see, yeah.
But, yeah. I mean, when I was able to keep a reasonably consistent gap to copy, I wasn't too worried anymore. But yeah, before that, I don't know. I wasn't too sure.
Well, I mean, still a huge load of points for your team, which is massive. It's so good to have you here and actually talk to you. I hadn't spoken to you in general anyway in such a long time, but to actually hear you in this scenario is fantastic. But next week, let's be serious for a second. Next week is going to be a toughie. Are you feeling confident? Are you going to be actually able to deliver a nice performance?
It's Canada, right? I'm not too sure. Canada isn't one of my best tracks, so we'll see. That probably won't be a podium though, or it might be. Who knows?
Well, I mean, it depends if you can practice, right?
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, I'll see how I feel about it.
Now, you actually were able to avoid a lot of the carnage that happened behind you, because right behind you, you had Copy, who did get pounced on by Somidia and Brownie. I'm not exactly sure who caused what and how it all panned out. It looked like it was a bit of a send from Somidia, but from your perspective, what could you see?
Nothing really too bad. I wasn't looking behind me. I just saw Copy. Like I heard like the sound of someone either hitting a wall or a car. And then I looked behind on the Delta, and there was just nobody there. So
they'd all just been left in the wall, and you ran away with it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so that is still a really good points position for you. This is really good for your constructors as well. We'll see what the outcome is for Brownie as to whether or not he is able to achieve any points due to the penalties being applied to the other drivers. But I look forward to seeing you next week in Canada, and I hope that you can deliver it once more.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Next is Zones, if he's around. He's not in the Mercedes chat, so I don't think we can get him. We may just have to go straight to our race winner, Mr. Vexit. Here he is. Vexit, hello.
Hello.
That was another victory for you. A very well done victory, but there must have been a moment in that race where you thought, I'm done here.
Yeah. I think as soon as I saw the pace of Zones like behind me, it was like really quite fearful, and I was really lucky to have Rainbow behind me on that safety car. I think it was the first safety car restart, because he was able to give me a good gap, and yeah, thank you to Rainbow, because him starting on hards was a blessing in disguise, really, because it gave me, I wouldn't say like a kind of blockade, like or a cork in the bottle. I would just say that I was able to use more pace, and then Rainbow did a really good job of defending for how long he did. But particularly towards the end of the race, it was really quite. I thought it was going to be tough, but it was easier than I expected, because I had considerably lower wings than Zones. Like Joel was updating me saying that he was having to use all his ERS, and he was still not really getting near me. So that was really quite. That was quite confidence inspiring for the last couple of laps as well, even if he got really, really close.
I mean, he did look like he was running quite high wings. There was a suspicion that was raised. You just seem to have either way less wings than he did, or a much better exit coming out of that final proper corner that allowed you to just pull a huge gap. Because, I mean, on that final lap, you went from being around 3.5 tenths to 4 tenths, the gap, to 8.5 tenths by the time we got to the start-finish line. So, clearly, your setup was the alpha setup. It worked wonders for you.
Yeah.
And you know, well done on securing not only the pole position, but also the race win. Didn't quite get the trifecta of the fastest lap as well, but still,
Yeah,
a very good job indeed.
I think wasn't the fastest lap. Wasn't the fastest lap set on softs, I want to say.
I think so,
But,
yeah.
Yes, it was by
But
Brownie.
yeah, either way, I'm still happy with 25 fat juicy points, so
Yeah,
can't really
exactly.
complain.
But, and this is the biggest but, and I cannot lie, you have got Canada next week. Are you feeling confident for Canada?
I do enjoy the track. It's quite a nice track in real life. On the game, it's not as nice, I must say, but it's still an okay track. In terms of my pace, I still feel pretty good. And yeah, hopefully we can aim for another really strong result like we did today. But yeah, I'm not going to say it'll be another win or anything, but I certainly think we can be on for a good result.
It sounds like you've got a lack of confidence. I want to hear I want to hear confidence from you. I'm going to ask you again. Where do you predict you're going to finish? And you're going to give me a very confident answer. Ready? Where do you think you're going to finish?
Podium.
What? That's no.
What did you? Do you want me
win.
to say win?
A win. Yeah, win will be good.
Okay. Let's do that again.
Okay, where are you going to win? Where are you going to finish?
Win.
We'll take it. Brilliant. No, all serious note, very well done today. A really, really good pole position, first of all, and then carrying that through into the race to actually secure the win, even though it literally went down to the very last corner. And I look very much forward to seeing what you can do in Canada.
Thank you.
And that's it for the Rwagnation League Grand Prix here in Baku. It's been an absolute pleasure to commentate for you. As always, I'm Ben Raggan McConnell, and joining me has been Mark Hornbadger Meiklejohn. Thank you so much, mate. It is always fun getting in the commentary box with you. You are my little Martin Brundle, and I appreciate it.
Martin Brundle now. Oh, I keep changing.
What was he before? Paul DeResta? You're a Paul DeResta. You got the Paul DeResta accent with the Martin Brundle brains.
Ah, there we go. And the Ted Travis sandals.
Martin DeResta.
Okay, sound. I approve.
We'll see you guys next week for Canada.